All right. Well, let me tell you a little bit something about me. My name is Alberto Dominguez, and I am a native of San Juan, Puerto Rico. And I grew up in South Florida. So I was actually born in Puerto Rico, but moved to Miami when I was 6 years old. Grew up in a very much a working class family. My father was an airline mechanic, and that's what actually brought us to Miami. He had an opportunity to work with Eastern Airlines, who was headquartered in Miami International Airport at the time. And he picked up me and my three siblings and my mother and made a big leap of faith, and moved to a place we didn't really know anybody. We were all very young. My oldest brother was, 8, I was 6, my younger brother was 5, and my little sister had literally just been born. She was an infant. And I think she was born in May, and we came to Miami in early August. And so, Miami in the 1980s, it's, Miami Vice and, sun and a crazy, crazy place to live and grow up, but had a pretty normal upbringing. Went to public elementary school, public junior high, and public high school. I think one of the things that my father instilled in all of us, and I think it comes with our heritage, is our work ethic. And not only did he model a tremendous work ethic of, getting up super early in the morning, working long hours to support, a wife and 4 children. He imparted on us that education was the single most important thing that he could give us and leave us. And so we really stressed in my household education, and almost at the expense of other things. So I didn't really play sports when I was in high school, because our focus was to make sure that we got great grades, that we excelled academically, and that we all got a post-secondary education. And I'm proud to say, and very humbled by the fact that both myself, my brothers, and my sister all graduated from college. Something that both of my parents did not do. Not only did we graduate from college with undergraduate degrees, 2 of us actually pursued postgraduate degrees. So my older brother is actually a physician. He went to medical school and is now a pediatrician in Chicago. And I went on to, after undergrad, went on to law school and graduated law school from Florida State University, same place I got my undergraduate degree. And so, I practiced law after graduating, and I believe a lot of my skill sets and ways that I approach business now were really formed in those early years. I was a criminal prosecutor coming out of law school, and learned about salesmanship, learned about negotiation, learned about business, learned about interacting with people. And it was really a great opportunity for me to learn and develop my skill set. And so I did that for a number of years, had a variety of roles in the public sector. I worked for the governor of the state of Florida, Governor Bush, for about 6 of his 8 years in Florida, and did a variety of roles, everything from legislative affairs to, I was general counsel of a state agency, one of the youngest general counsels ever to be named in the state of Florida, and continued just to develop. And then I had an opportunity to pursue my interest in business. And so I went to Dallas, Texas to work for a casual dining company, really doing sales. It was franchise sales, and it was global sales. So I had about half the globe. An interesting point, and we'll get to this a little bit later when we talk about how I keep my Hispanic heritage alive. It was very important to my parents that we preserve our language. And so I speak fluent Spanish, not for any other reason other than my parents insisted that at home, when we were at school, we could speak English, and we learned English, and we learned our second language. But at home, we all spoke Spanish. And to this day, when I interact with my parents, with my brothers and sisters, we speak Spanish. And I think language is a great representation of any culture. And in my case, it's, a great representation of my Hispanic culture. I think it rounds me out as a leader, as a communicator, because I do have at my disposal two languages, a Romance language and an English, that allow me to dig deep into really communicating concepts, ideas, and I have in my toolbox two languages to do that. And so I did that. I did international sales. I traveled all over the globe doing that. And then Walmart called and recruited me to come join their organization. Again, leveraging my legal background and my negotiation background to help them negotiate contracts in their pharmacy business. I continued to grow inside of Walmart and grew my skill set as a merchant, and continued to, and was ultimately promoted to senior vice president for food, snacks, beverage, impulse candy, and alcohol, and continued, to grow in the organization. Really fell in love with retail, and ultimately about a year and a half ago, I left Walmart and I joined Kimberly-Clark. I get to lead an incredibly diverse and talented team. Our local office here has about 85 people in it. And, our job is to represent our brands to Walmart, Sam's Club, and really deliver on our promise, which is, bringing consumers the essentials for life. So we sell things like diapers, paper towel, toilet paper, things that have become increasingly even more important in this COVID world. Yeah. And so, great place to be, great organization. And I really do enjoy working on the CPG side, calling on two great customers.
That's awesome. Yeah. Now, also, I know that you're giving back to the community, and could you tell us a little bit about the organizations that you've been part of? I know that you've been in the board. Let us know a little bit about what you've done there.
Absolutely. So I've always had a passion to give back to causes that are important to me and my family. A little backstory, watching my brother go through undergrad and then enter medical school, I always had aspirations myself of being a doctor. It was what I would say as a kid if someone asked me, what did you want to be when you grow up? Well, life has an interesting way of taking you in directions that you didn't expect. And while I never, achieved that dream of becoming a physician, I do have a passion for health, medicine. And so you'll notice that throughout my track record of nonprofit work, there's always been some sort of health or medical angle to it. Whether it was my role working with Metals for Metal, which is an organization that collects marathon medals from people who have run marathons and then donates them at children's hospitals to really highlight the fact that those individuals that are struggling with long-term chronic diseases are running their own race, and should be celebrated and congratulated for fighting the good fight. I've also served on the board here locally in Northwest Arkansas of the Cystic Fibrosis organization, and that's a disease that I have a lot of passion for, because I do believe that based on my understanding of the medicine, it's something that we could cure in our lifetime. There's some pretty interesting things that could happen, and so in terms of new treatments, and so that was one that I poured a lot of my time and energy into. I've also done work with the diabetes. Junior Diabetes Association here in Northwest Arkansas. We have family members that are type 1 and type 2 diabetics, and we have a great passion for supporting those causes, because we know the toll that it takes on families, particularly when adolescents are diagnosed with diabetes. And then I've also had opportunity to serve for a long time in the Sunshine School for Development, which is a organization here in Northwest Arkansas that help support a school for children with unique disabilities and challenges, whether it be occupational therapy or language therapy. It's a great organization and a great cause, and happy to pour my time, talents, and treasures into all of these organizations, because any one of us could be diagnosed with a disease, and the folks that are going through those challenges need our help. That if we're fortunate enough to be able-bodied and healthy, we should give back to those organizations because those people have those diseases or those opportunities with no fault of their own, and they deserve our support and our encouragement.
That's very encouraging, and yeah, you're absolutely right. They're fighting their own battles, and I think that it's amazing the work that those organizations are doing for all of the diverse types of conditions. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So when I was looking at your background, I noticed that you one of the skills that you provide your expertise on is negotiation. So that's a very unique skill. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Is selling negotiation or vice versa?
I believe that, negotiation is a part of selling. Selling is ultimately about influencing someone and solving a problem or a need that they have. And part of that is, number one, identifying what that need is. And then number two, providing a solution. And sometimes when you provide that solution, you have to negotiate, whether it's price, terms, different things that may add or detract value from that transaction. And so I think negotiation is an integral part of sales. I don't know that you can effectively do sales without being well-versed in negotiation.
Mm-hmm. And one thing about the Hispanic culture is that we tend to be a little adverse to breaking rank. We're very respectful of our elders. How can we as Latinos overcome those internal struggles, and what are the benefits of becoming better negotiators ourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. We are, as a culture, at least what I've observed, and even observed it in myself, we defer to authority, whether it be our elders, our more senior people in our organization. We tend to value authority, like you said, rank, and that sometimes creates a disadvantage for ourselves when we're negotiating. I think part of it is, number one, with any problem, acknowledging that unconscious bias is there. I think is number one, because we tend to be biased towards pleasing the more senior person or deferring to the most senior person. Number one is acknowledging that bias is there and being able to manage it. I don't know that you can ever really eliminate something like that. That's as deeply rooted in our culture but I think number one, acknowledging it, and number two, practicing is really important. Practicing negotiation, much like a baseball player would practice swinging a bat, a quarterback would practice throwing a ball. We have to practice, and negotiation is a skill. And I believe that anybody can negotiate with enough practice and education and thoughtful mentorship. Anyone can be a great negotiator, but you do have to practice. And you can practice at home. We all negotiate every day. It's a skill that we maybe sometimes do subconsciously. We negotiate with our kids on their bedtime. We negotiate with our spouses or our partners with where you want to live and where you want to work. We negotiate with our boss on salary. We negotiate with with a guy when we're buying a car. So it's a skill that we do virtually every day, but a lot of people don't acknowledge they do it every day, and so they don't really devote the time to understanding what negotiation is and then practicing it. And I think the most single important thing is practice.
Yeah, you're right, and it's something that personally I keep trying to learn more about. So we're talking about mentors, and were there any mentors important to the success in your career? And could you share a story?
Yeah, absolutely. I will tell you that, if I've had any success in business or in life, it's really been because of two things. Number one, great mentors that have poured themselves into me, and then a fair amount of luck, being at the right place at the right time. Of course, there's, work involved. Opportunity is created when you prepare and you're ready and you take the time to develop yourself and your skills. But you can't do that alone. I've yet to meet a very good leader who is a good leader because they read everything in a book.
Right.
I'm a big believer in feedback, and I ask for feedback constantly. Sometimes, to the chagrin of my employees and my team members, but I do. I think it's the only meaningful way to get better in anything in life. It's why people have, that's why sports players have coaches. Coaches are there to provide feedback. And in the business world, our coaches are our mentors. And they give us meaningful insight about things that we either are unaware of, are blind to, and they open our eyes to areas of opportunity where we can develop better as leaders. And I've had too many mentors to name, an individual one, but across my entire career, I've had people that have trusted me, that have given me opportunities, that have shown the light on my opportunities and the areas where I need to develop and work on. And I owe any success that I've had to those people. And they really provide. They almost shine. They almost hold a mirror up to yourself to let you see what maybe you couldn't see by yourself. And I've had plenty that have told me when I was screwing up. I have plenty that have patted me on the back when I've done a good job. Both are important. Feedback shouldn't only be negative; it should be positive as well. And I've been just blessed with a remarkable number of mentors. And as a result, I've really modeled my own leadership behavior from those interactions. And so today I serve as a mentor for a lot of young people who have aspirations in work, in family, in life. And I provide my perspective on whatever problem or whatever situation that they're faced with. And I think we have a responsibility as people who have been successful in business to share our knowledge, to identify up and coming talent, and to mentor those people. Because at the end of the day, when I retire and go to the beach somewhere to spend my glory days, we owe it to the next generation to develop leaders that are capable, are confident, are skilled at what they do. And so I try to do as much of that as possible.
Yeah, you're totally right. It's one of the craziest things when you start looking at some of the young kids that are coming out of high school, and you start thinking, at some point they're gonna be taking care of me, in what's it called, geriatrics?
Yeah, geriatric.
They're gonna be taking care of me. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. We have to invest on the upcoming generation.
Right.
So we're asking a few things because we are observing the Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes.
And one question that we're asking our members is how you keep your Hispanic heritage alive.
Yes. So, I try to do, I'll give you one example, but you need to know a little bit about my family. So I'm married to a wonderful woman named Sally, and we have 3 great kids. And my wife is American. She's not of Hispanic descent. And so, I think going into when we started building our family, I had this high hope or this aspiration that much like my parents did for me, that we would, speak Spanish in the home. And that's become virtually impossible because my wife doesn't speak Spanish. So we can't, I can't transfer that cultural knowledge to my kids and their generation through language. And so I have to find another way to do that. And one of my hobbies is cooking. And so, I try to keep my heritage alive and expand it and share it with my family through food. I think food is a great bridge. It brings people together. It's something we all do. It fosters great communication, great debate sometimes about topics of the day. And you do all that and you get all that when you have great food and you're, sharing a meal. There's something hardwired in all of us that sharing a meal brings people closer. And so, I have several, I've over the years collected from grandparents, aunts, uncles, several Puerto Rican cuisine books. And so, I try to cook those things that my kids, would never heard of, may not completely understand or appreciate,
Right.
but it's the stuff that I grew up eating in my house. And I try to keep the heritage alive by sharing that part of my life, my heritage, my culture with them.
That is amazing. And I'll be honest, you're making me a little hungry too.
Yeah,
No,
it
but
happens.
yeah, but absolutely. I mean, that's our connection. Part of our connection on a daily basis. Sitting around with family, talking, and having a meal. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
So
Especially in the Hispanic culture. I mean, I think all cultures gather around food, but I remember growing up and, sitting around, a camping table and having just family come together, aunts, uncles, second cousins, people that you maybe saw once or twice a year on the island would come together and share a meal. And it was like it was like you never missed a beat from the last time you saw them. And so I think it's really powerful, particularly in our culture, that idea of getting together as a family and sharing a meal. And it's something that I try to, again, continue to share with my family so that they can have an appreciation for that and hopefully, pass it on to theirs.
is there any of your kids that are showing that interest in the cooking?
Yeah, my middle child, my middle daughter, she's a great cook. She likes to bake more than cook, but I think with a little influence and a little encouragement, maybe we can get her to do a little more of it.
That's good. So last question. So
Yes.
what's next in your plate? Do you have any projects that you're working on right now?
I'm my biggest responsibility is to my team. I take that responsibility very seriously. Like I said, our office has about 85 professionals working there, everything from supply chain to finance, sales, category management. And, my project, what I wake up every morning thinking about and go to bed every night thinking about is how do I give them all the tools that they need to be successful? And so, my project right now is just making sure that my team, particularly in this environment where our work and life has been disrupted by this pandemic, I have a responsibility to make sure that during this very strange time in our life, that my team has everything that they need in order to be successful, both personally and professionally.
Yeah.
And so I'm not undertaking any major projects outside of that because I think I owe my team that as a responsibility. And trust me, that takes up a lot of my time, making sure that everybody is taken care of, making sure that I'm in touch with everything that's going on with them personally and professionally, making sure they have the resources to do their jobs, making sure that they're getting feedback, making sure that they're getting developmental opportunities. Because at the end of the day, the team is a reflection of the leader, and I want to make sure that that team is the best team that they can be.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking this time to talk to us, and it's been very encouraging, and I think that our audience will enjoy your stories. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right.